الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونستهديه ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا من يهده الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلا هادي له وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله صلى الله عليه وسلم. We all praises to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We praise Him, we seek His forgiveness. We seek refuge with Allah from the evil of ourselves, evil of our actions. Whomsoever Allah has guided, whom may misguide. Whomsoever Allah has allowed to be led astray, and none may guide. I bear witness in this day that there is none worthy of worship except Allah alone. And I bear witness that Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam is the messenger of Allah. Amma ba'd. First of all, thank the brothers for having invited me to speak about 2 or 3 matters. The matters we're going to speak about today, inshallah, I don't think it's going to take too long, is first of all the Eid prayer, secondly the Janaza prayer, and thirdly how to correct the Imam should the Imam make a mistake. So they're the 3 matters. First of all, just to say that the prayer in general, even before we get to the Eid prayer and the Janaza prayer, the prayer in general is one of the 5 pillars of Islam. And in fact, after the Shahada, which is none worthy of worship except Allah, Muhammad is the Messenger of Allah, after the Shahada, the prayer is the most important pillar. And the Prophet ﷺ said, أَوَّلُ مَا يُحَاسَبُ بِهِ الْعَبْدُ يَوْمَ الْقِيَامَةِ الصَّلَاةِ. The first thing that a slave will be asked about, meaning a Muslim will be asked about in his grave, is the prayer. That has he prayed? And there is an ayah in the Quran where the people of the hellfire will ask other people entering, why did you go to hellfire? And they will say, قَالُوا لَمْ نَكُ مِنَ الْمُصَلِّينَ, that we didn't used to pray. So many of the ulama, they had very, very serious statements about the one who left the prayer. Nowadays you have many Muslims, there's Muslims, they don't pray, maybe only pray Jumu'ah, or maybe even only Eid. Very, very important, every Muslim prays 5 times a day. But in terms of the Sunnah and the Nawafil, just focus on the Fard, the minimum 17 Fard. You have the Fajr 2, Zuhr 4, Asr 4, Maghrib 3, and Isha 4. That's 17. So as an absolute minimum, those 17 need to be covered every single day. There is no excuse for a man. With a woman, you have like a menstruation. However, with a man, there is no excuse. Even when you're ill, you have to pray. Even when you're on a journey, you have to pray. So there is no excuse for abandoning the prayer whatsoever, as long as you're in control of your faculties. So I just wanted to emphasize that the prayer is very, very important. And when you see somebody who is deficient in prayer, that means they're not a strong Muslim. That's the first important thing, to pray properly. The second thing is to try to pray in jama'ah, a congregation, as much as you possibly can. So try to have a strong relationship with masjid. Don't be a stranger in the masjid. Don't be one of those people that when they come to the masjid in the coffin, nobody knows who they are. They've never seen him before. That's a very bad situation. So try to come to the masjid as much as possible, and the reward in the masjid is much more. So they're the most 2 important things to say about the prayer. Okay, we start with Salat al-Eid. It's a bit strange speaking about Salat al-Eid when Dhul Hijjah has just finished, but inshallah, nevertheless, we will speak about Salat al-Eid. First thing, if you make it a little bit interactive if possible, is whenever we speak about anything in Islam, we talk about the hukum. The hukum means ruling. Okay, what's the ruling? Typically, the ruling is wajib, mandub, mubah, makruh, haram. So we'll talk about hukum. So what's the hukum of the Eid prayer? Again, the ulama have many differences of opinion, but at the very least we can say the Eid prayer is highly emphasized. Okay, it's something which is sunnah mu'akkada, highly emphasized by everyone to attend the Eid prayer. When should the Eid prayer be offered? Anyone have any idea? When should we offer the Eid prayer? On Eid? No, I mean on Eid day.
Before the Zawal time.
Yeah, before Zawal time, that's the end. Okay, Zawal is when the sun, if you imagine the sun, it rises in the east. Yeah, the sun rises in the east, and then it makes an arc, rises in the east and sets in the west. So when the sun gets to its highest most point, this is called the zenith. Okay, it's called the zenith. And the sun, it actually stops ever so slightly for a very short period of time, maybe 5 minutes at the top, and this is one of the prohibited times for praying. This is zawal time. And then after that 5 minutes has passed and the sun starts moving again, what prayer time is that? Dhuhr. Okay, so Dhuhr. So between the sun's zenith, between sunrise and the sun's zenith, okay, there's a period of time you can pray any nafils you want, apart from that very short period of time when the sun is at a standstill. Okay, this is called zawal time. Okay, so the fajr time ends at sunrise. Okay, fajr time ends at sunrise, and then between sunrise and zawal, there's a period of time where anyone can pray any nafil. That if you want to pray nafil for no reason, you can pray nafil. If you want to pray salat al-duha, okay, which the Prophet said is sadaqah for the 360 joints on your body, 2 units, then you can pray in this time. So the only time you can't pray is just before dhuhr time. Look on the calendar, about 5 minutes before dhuhr time. This time is haram to pray in this time. It's one of the 3 times when it's haram to pray. Also, the other 2 times when the sun is rising, and the sun is setting. Okay, these are the other 2 times. Right, so that's the time. So the time is, starting time is when the sun has risen. So if you imagine, I've been given a pen and a board, so I will demonstrate. So if you imagine this is the horizon, we're on the horizon. Okay, this is the horizon. So the sun, okay, it starts. You can start seeing the rays of the sun. Okay, so then the sun is rising. Okay, so the sun. This is sunrise time. Then the sun, it comes here to this place, and then in the hadith it's described. This is not a man, by the way. Okay, this is my engineering coming in. This is how you do a dimension. Okay, this distance here, okay, is the height of a spear. Okay, so the sun, it moved over here now. It's come over here. This is sunrise. Okay, and this is the height of a spear. We can say 15 minutes after sunrise. Is that clear? 15 minutes from sunrise. That period of time between sunrise and 15 minutes, this is prohibited time. And then the sun will carry on moving like this until it's very high in the sky, when it reaches its maximum point, and this point is called the zenith or zawal time, zawal. Okay? And then thereafter the sun will start setting. So this is the east and this is the west. Okay, remember with me, yeah? This is the east and this is the west. So the sun, when it's at zawal, it will stop for about 5 minutes. Okay? I don't think physically it stops, but it appears as though it stopped because of the period of time. After this time onwards, this is called dhuhr time. It's called dhuhr time. And this time, between the prohibited time and zawal time, is a permissible time. Is that clear? Terrible drawing, but yeah. You get me, yeah? So the sun rises, height of a spear. What's a spear? Height of a spear. Meaning about how tall is a spear? Maybe a meter, 1.5 meters. About 1.5 meters, so approximately 15-20 minutes. You shouldn't pray any prayer at that time. Then the sun carries on to the zawal time. That time is the time when you can pray Eid or you can pray Salat al-Duha. Not to be confused with masjid. Duha. Hey, you know, yeah.
What is Salat al-Duha?
Salat al-Duha is 2 units of prayer, 2 nafil units of prayer. When the Prophet said, if anybody prays them, every joint in your body has to give sadaqah every day. Okay? Meaning that sadaqah is not only monetary, sadaqah can be like helping somebody. If somebody prayed 2 units of prayer in that period of time, then that would be sadaqah for the 360 joints in his body. So it's something very, very recommended. One of those forgotten prayers. There's a book called The Three Forgotten Prayers. I don't know what the other ones are, but one of the forgotten prayers which people they have abandoned is Salat al-Duha. So try to pray Salat al-Duha if you can. When I used to work in Saudi Arabia a few years ago, when you go to work, they have a musalla, like a masjid in the office. People, when they come to work, the first thing they do is pray Salat al-Duha. It's quite nice. And they go to the, before you go to the Jasir, pray Salat al-Duha. So that's the time when the Eid prayer has to be. Is that clear? Okay, so that's Eid time. So, for example, if we put in numbers, say the sun rises at 6 a.m. Okay, so at 6:20 a.m. or 6:15 a.m. Okay, at that time you can start praying your Eid prayer. And say, I don't know, for example, 11:50 is when the Zawal time is, and then 11:55 is when Dhuhr time begins. Is that clear? Okay, so that's the Salat al-Eid. Okay, it has to be here. And they pray in many parts of the Muslim world, they pray very, very early. I remember when I lived in Egypt the first time, I almost missed Salat al-Eid because it's so early. There's no adhan, there's no iqamah either for Salat al-Eid. Okay. The sunnah is that with the Eid al-Adha, okay, Eid al-Adha, which is the one we just passed, the sunnah is to pray the Salah in the earlier part of the time. So if we say 6:20 and 11:50, it would be better, if sunnah are recommended, that we pray closer to 6:20. Okay? Why? What's the wisdom behind praying earlier Salat al-Duha? Yeah, because the slaughtering, it takes a long time. Okay, so the idea is that you do the prayer, then whoever wants to slaughter, they can go to the slaughterhouse and they can do their slaughter. Okay, the sunnah for that person is to eat from his slaughter, not to have breakfast that morning, actually to eat from that. While the sunnah with Eid al-Fitr is to delay it a little bit, and you're supposed to have some dates or something before you leave home. How many rak'ah is the Eid prayer? Anyone prayed Eid before? Two. Okay, just checking in. Okay, it's 2 rak'ah. Okay, on Salat al-Eid, which happens the first? The khutbah, during the khutbah, speech or the prayer? Which one is first? The prayer. And in Jumu'ah, which one is first? The khutbah. Okay, so it's the opposite way around. So the first thing you do on Eid is you pray your 2 minutes of prayer. Okay. The intention. How do you make your intention for the Eid prayer? Or what do you say? Okay. What do you say for your intention?
You just take that you pray the Eid prayer.
You know.
You know, I mean,
You can imagine you're praying Eid prayer. Yeah. Yeah, I know what you mean, yeah. Yeah, precisely. Yeah. The intention has no wording. When we used to go to the masjid, they used to teach us, نَوَيْتُ أَنْ أُصَلِّيَ 4 ركعات خلف الإمام ماسك في تكبيراته. So remember some of these things, yeah. But they used to teach us how to make the niyyah. However, there's no wording in any of the sunnah or hadith, there's no wording for the niyyah. Niyyah is in the heart. When you pray Salat al-Maghrib now, you know you're praying Maghrib. Okay, that's it. You stand up Allahu Akbar. Okay? But you must know which prayer you're doing. You can't just, I'm just going to pray. No. You must know it's Maghrib, and you must know you're praying the fard of Maghrib, not the Sunnah. Okay, so you must be conscious of what you're doing. You can't just, sometimes when I'm in a hurry, I just come in and Allahu Akbar, I'm not really thinking what I'm doing. But you don't just spend too much time worrying about it. You came to the masjid to pray Maghrib, that's it. You pray Maghrib. So the intention is in the heart, and you don't need to memorize any words or anything like this. Okay, so when you start praying the Eid prayer, the special characteristic of the Eid prayer is that there are additional takbirs. What does the word takbir mean? Usually someone becomes a Muslim and knows that. Takbir. Huh? No. What does takbir mean? To say Allah Akbar. When you say takbir, it means say Allahu Akbar. When you say tahmeed, it means to say Alhamdulillah. When you say tasbih, it means Subhanallah. Yeah? When you say tahleel, it means La ilaha illallah. Okay, so these are like terms for different phrases. Okay? Sometimes you hear them, you don't need to know them. So the difference between the Eid prayer and say the Fajr prayer, which is also 2 units, is that there are additional takbir. Are you familiar with this? There are more takbir. So you have the first opening takbir in every prayer. Okay, the prayer must open with the opening takbir, which is called takbiratul ihram. Takbiratul Ihram. Okay, this is called the opening takbir. In fact, there are two types of takbir. You have Takbiratul Ihram and you have Takbiratul Intiqal. Takbiratul Ihram is the opening Allahu Akbar. Okay, so this is the opening takbir. So you must have that in every prayer. And then you have Takbiratul Intiqal. Intiqal means movement, when you move from one position to another. So you're standing and you say Allahu Akbar. So you go into bowing, into the ruku'. Okay, so you said takbir, and this is the takbir of movement. And this one is the takbir of starting the prayer. Okay? So in the Eid prayer, you have additional takbirs. Okay. How many additional takbirs do you have? How many? How many additional takbirs?
It varies, very different ones.
Yeah, it does vary. Yeah, there are different narrations from different companions, and the main thing is that it's sunnah. So takbir is sunnah. So if somebody did a different number of takbirs, then your Eid prayer is still valid. Yeah, the Eid prayer. So it's not one of those issues where you need to fight over. Allahu A'lam, what I know is that there are 11 additional takbir. 11 additional takbir. Okay, you have 6 additional takbirs in the first rak'ah. Everyone know rak'ah? Rak'ah means unit of prayer. And you have 5 additional takbirs in the second unit of prayer. Okay, so again, between the madhahib, there could well be differences, a certain number of takbirs, but it's not that important. So if we're looking at the Eid prayer, okay, we're saying in the first, in the second rak'ah, okay, additional takbir. Additional is 6 and 5. Okay, so how do you start the Eid Salah? Is you start by, everyone will say Allahu Akbar. Okay, so you put your hands somewhere where you're comfortable on your body. Allahu Akbar. So that takbir is the opening takbir. That's not additional takbir, is it? That's part and parcel of the prayer. So then, what do you do then? What would you read then? What you might read? سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك وتبارك اسمك وتعالى جدك ولا إله غيرك. Or other supplications as well. This is called Du'a al-Istiftah, which means the opening supplication. If you don't know it, it's a sunnah. Many people, they don't know it. So it doesn't matter. But if you know it, then silently you read to yourself Du'a al-Istiftah. So you do Du'a al-Istiftah. Yeah. The Du'a al-Istiftah is not read aloud ever. Then you make your additional takbir. At that point you make additional takbir. So how many additional takbirs will you make? You're now at the start of the first rak'ah. 6, okay? So you say Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. Okay, so you've made one takbir, opening. So you started the prayer, then you read your supplication. اللهم باعد بيني وبين خطاياي كما بعدت بين المشرق والمغرب. This is another example of the opening supplication. Then you make 6 takbirs, okay? And then you carry on as normal. You say أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. And then the Imam, he will read. Will he read loudly or will he read silently? Okay, so you have some prayers where the prayer is silent. Okay, meaning that the Imam, he does not vocalize. And other prayers where the prayer is loud. Okay? Yeah.
So in first you start doing first takbir, then you read Subhanallah wa bihamdika.
Yeah.
Then you do 6 takbirs.
Yeah.
Then after that
After that, then you carry on as normal. You say أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم, and then you read Fatiha. Okay, so the recitation by the Imam will be loud.
would it be the same as like a normal Salah?
Yeah, it's the same.
So you read Fatiha, then another Salah.
Yeah, the Eid prayer and 2 rak'ah of Fajr, say they're exactly the same. The only difference is takbirs at the beginning of each rak'ah. The first rak'ah, 6 additional takbirs. Second rak'ah, 5 additional takbirs. There's no other difference.
No no
Yeah, there's no difference. So then the Imam, he recites loudly. And this is a bit like Jumu'ah. The Imam, he recites loudly. This is a bit like the Kusuf, or the eclipse prayer, where the Imam recites loudly. So these prayers, well, large congregational prayers, typically, they are read loudly. Then the Imam, he will recite Surah Al-Fatiha, which is a pillar in every prayer, meaning it's a must. And then the Imam, he will recite, from Sunnah is to recite Surah Al-A'la. Everyone knows Surah Al-A'la? Sabbih isma rabbika al-A'la. Okay, so Sunnah. If the Imam recited something else, it doesn't mean the prayer is invalid or anything else, but it's preferable if the Imam, he recites Surah Al-A'la. So then he gets to the end of that, he says Allahu Akbar, and he goes into ruku'. He goes into bowing. Yeah? Okay, so he goes.
How do you start Surah Allah? Which one's that?
سبح اسم ربك الأعلى الذي خلق فسوى. Yeah? So the Imam he will recite and Allah Akbar. سبحان ربي العظيم سبحان ربي العظيم سبحان ربي العظيم سمع الله لمن حمده ربنا ولك الحمد, and then he will go into sujood. Okay, so then he sujood, he completes his sujood, and then he comes up. Allahu Akbar. Okay, is this an additional takbir when he comes up? Is this an additional one?
Is it a movement?
Yeah, it's a movement one, yeah? Takbiratul intiqal. It's a movement one. So now he's back standing up. Okay, now what does he do? 5 additional takbirs. Okay, so he makes takbir Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar 5 times. And then he carries on as normal. Okay, there's no need to read A'udhu Billahi Minash Shaitanir Rajeem again, because that only happens once in the first rak'ah. Then he just carries on Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, and it's sunnah to read Surah Al-Ghashiyah. Okay, Ghashiyah, which is the next sequential surah after Surah Al-A'la. Hadatha Hadithul Ghashiyah. Again, if he doesn't know Ghashiyah, or then he can read something else. It's no big problem.
Once you come back up, the first is movement one, and you do 5 additional.
Yeah, 5 additionals, yeah.
Then you recite Al-Fatiha.
Then you must recite Al-Fatiha, and then you recite a surah from the Quran, which to comply with the Sunnah, it's better to recite Al-Ghashiyah. Okay?
Hello. And when you do the extra takbis, you just let go, don't you?
Yeah, I was going to come to this. Should you raise your hands with takbir or not? That's the first question. Should you raise your hands? I would say it's better to raise your hands in both the Janazah and the Eid. So better to raise your hands. Whether you should raise them and put them like this, or raise them and lower them to your side, Allahu A'lam. There's some kind of flexibility. There is no actual hadith which tells you exactly where to place your hands. Me personally, I lower them to my side. But it's a minor point. The main thing is you raise and lower your hands with each additional takbir. Each additional takbir you raise and lower hands. Some of the ulama, they mentioned that when you do the additional takbir, then between every 2 takbirs you should make a dua. Okay, like for example, you're making the 6th additional takbir, Allahu Akbar, and then I even saw in some countries, in Saudi Arabia, when I prayed Eid prayer there, I saw the Imam pause between each 2 takbirs. Allahu Akbar, and then he's probably making a dua. Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. Allahu A'lam, but there's no specific hadith regarding making dua between each set of takbir. But just to make you aware that some people may do that, but there's no need to do it. You just do slowly, in close succession, you do the takbirs. So then the Imam, he does the takbir, he does the 5 additional takbirs, reads Surah Al-Fatiha, and then reads Surah Al-Ghashiyah. Okay? And then he carries on the prayer as normal, and then he makes a taslim, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah, and that's it. The Eid prayer is finished. So, in summary, Eid prayer is 2 units, same as any other prayer. The only difference is that in the beginning there are additional 6, and in the second rak'ah there are additional 5. Okay, altogether 11 additional takbirs. Someone will say that there are actually 12 additional takbirs, and this is a difference in understanding of the hadith. We won't go there. But okay, anyone have any questions? Eid prayer is pretty much straightforward. Most common mistake is the Imam sometimes he forgets the takbirs. Okay, is very common. The Imam for the takbirs, again, is nothing to lose any sleep over. How do you count the takbirs? This is another interesting point. That, you have to really focus. Yeah. Myself, when I lead the prayer, I count on my digits. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, I know this is 5, and I know this is 6. So Allah Akbar, Allah Akbar, Allah Akbar. I know I will do it right. So you can't take your tasbih and hear something in the prayer. Best you use your digits. I think that's the best way of doing it. Any other points on Salat al-Eid? Yeah.
For example, the Imam doesn't know Surah Ghashiyah or Surah Al, they said an alternative surah.
Yeah, that's okay as well. Okay, so that completes the Eid prayer. So Eid prayer is straightforward. Now we come on to the Janaza prayer. Salatul Janaza. The ruling of the Salatul Janaza is that it's a communal obligation, which means that no one in the community washed, shrouded, and prayed upon and buried the dead person, then everyone carries the sin. So at the very least, one person in the community must have done that duty. Generally, that happens anyway, so that's not a problem. Second point with Janaza is that where should the Imam stand? Okay, where should the Imam stand in relation to the dead body? Okay, before we get into that.
The body should be in front of the Imam.
Yeah. So if we do a bird's eye view, okay. So if you imagine that this is the body. It's a terrible drawing. Okay. Okay. If you imagine this is the direction of the Qibla. Okay. This is the Qibla.
Allah